for the last 7 or 8 weeks, you would look at the SEC standings, you'd be like, who's going to make it to Atlanta? Here we go. It's a rematch with Alabama and Georgia.
Hey, we got another one. We got to go do it again.
If you're scared, go to church. I see Chris, I put in work. #1 up at my city. Yeah, I did it first. I remember
win the championships. That's the goal.
Let's get it. Let's go. I've been up in that mode.
It'll be a lot of fun in Atlanta.
Like this is Super Bowl.
All right, welcome in as we sit just a couple of days away from the SEC Championship game in Atlanta. I am Dari Noka. Of course, Georgia and Alabama, they know each other very well. You're going to hear from Kirby Smart coming up in a few minutes. You're going to hear from Kalen DeBoer and Greg Sankey as well. But these two on Saturday at Mercedes-Benz Stadium will play in the SEC Championship game for the 5th time against one another. And in all 4 moments, Alabama's beaten Georgia. In fact, Alabama got Georgia in Athens back on September 27th, of course, 27-24. So Georgia's certainly looking for a little bit of revenge, perhaps, and perhaps a chance at a playoff bye in round number 1. Take a look at the SEC rematches that we've had over time. Again, these two are familiar foes, in fact, tied for the second most matchups between any two teams in the SEC Championship. Now, keep in mind, we've got you covered all the way from Atlanta on, start to the end of the day, essentially, from Atlanta on Saturday, starting with Marty and McGee, SEC Nation. Then we've got the Skycast view of the game and then SEC football final when it's over. We'll also be in Atlanta on Friday for SEC Now. All righty, we start these news conferences with Georgia head football coach Kirby Smart.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the 2025 SEC Football Championship Game pre-press conference. Today, we are first joined by the head coach of the Georgia Bulldogs, the visiting team in Saturday's game, ranked number 3 in the country, 11-1, 7-1 in the SEC. We first will take an opening statement from Coach Smart, and then we will take your questions. Again, if you have a question, use the raise hand function, and we will unmute your line. Coach, congratulations on making it to the championship game. We'll start with your opening statement.
Thank you, guys. I first want to thank the SEC for such a great, tremendous event. It's been an awesome opportunity for us to participate in this game many times. It's not something that we take lightly. It's one of the best venues and most viewed games in every entire football season. And I think the caliber of the two teams this year is indicative of what it is every year. You've got two great programs that both played really tough in-conference schedules and will battle for an SEC championship in Atlanta on Saturday. So our guys are excited. We're honored to be there. And got tremendous respect for Alabama, Coach DeBoer, the job he's done, the gauntlet his players went through in terms of the games they had to play, and them earning their right to play as well.
Thank you, Coach Smart. Again, if you have a question, please use the raise hand function. We will unmute your line, and then you will need to unmute your line as well. Our first questions will come from Connor Riley of Dog Nation. Connor?
Yeah, Kirby, just signing day yesterday. What did you think of the class that you guys were able to bring in and how that helped meet your needs?
Yeah, really excited about that group. It was kind of anticlimactic like it normally is nowadays on signing day, and our prep was focused on Alabama. So it's a tough day organizationally because you got a lot going on at the same time. But very, very pleased, excited about the guys we've got. I always look at it as you look in reverse and you look back 3 years from now, and you really value that class then. And nowadays, more of these kids have to be ready to play. I look at our practice yesterday, our practice the day before, and the number of true freshmen that are in the two deep is probably higher than it's ever been in my 10 years here, and I got a feeling that's here to stay. So that's saying that those guys we signed yesterday would be factors in our depth chart next year, and they got to be ready to play faster because you just don't have as many people.
And then 2 of the last 3 years, you've had a quarterback prospect flip away and ultimately sign with another school right before signing day. How has that impacted maybe how you guys have gone about trying to recruit quarterbacks and secure those long-term relationships where they follow through with them?
I don't think it changes at all. It's part of the process. I mean, that's not completely abnormal for kids to change their mind. We've known for both kids a long time that there's a possibility of that. I mean, it's a commitment. It's not a signee. So you know that you have plans in place. We talked all along, multiple years. It's not like it's surprising. I don't think that changes how you recruit. I think you still recruit the same way you recruit. You just make sure you have a plan in place if it happens.
Thanks, Kirby.
Thank you, Connor. If you have a question, please use the raise hand function in the Zoom, and we will get to your question. Once we call on you, we will then unmute your line to ask your question. Our next question will come from Jeremy Johnson of On3. Jeremy.
Hey, Coach. Obviously, in this game last year, Gunner was forced into play, and he got some reps during the year. But you kind of look at Ryan Puglisi and Ryan Montgomery. Can you kind of tell me where they are? If they were forced into something similar, and how have they kind of leaned on Gunner? Having the experience that he had last year.
Yeah, I don't know that they've leaned on Gunner. Gunner's doing his own prep, right? Gunner does a great job preparing for each game, and he prepared last year so that when his number was called, he was ready to go perform. Those guys are their own individual selves. They sit in the same room with Gunner, and they listen and they learn. They take notes. We get not a lot of action, but we get enough action with them that should they have to go in, they got to be prepared. Quarterback coaches do a tremendous job of putting those guys on the board, asking them questions. They get reps. They don't get as many reps as Gunner, and I think that would be the case all across the country. Is how well do those guys prepare? Because you never know, when your number is going to get called.
Just a quick follow-up. Obviously, you kind of mentioned some of those guys, those young guys that are in here too deep. A lot of them have had to play, and they're about a year into your program. What do you kind of see out of that group of young players, the freshmen, and then the young true sophomores that are going into their junior year? What are you kind of looking at when you're looking at them developmentally, especially at this point of the year where you're about to play for an SEC championship and potentially go into a playoff run? Those guys are having an opportunity to be a big part of that. So what are you looking for developmentally from those guys?
Growth. I think it's really important. We played a clip from a former coach who talked about guys not being prepared and maybe not preparing the right way when their numbers were called. I would never want to feel that way. I don't want any regret. And you learn through real experiences. And these kids, whether they're freshmen or sophomores, they're in a long season. They're in a longer season than they've ever been in. They've been in physical practices more than they ever have been. They've had a higher expectation put on them in terms of meetings and volume of knowledge than they've ever been in. So, we've challenged them, and now it's time to reap some of the rewards from guys having to step up and play, from different guys being injured, different guys being out. You just don't know when your number is going to be called. So that's why we try so hard to two-spot things, two-spot walks, grow kids, challenge kids, put kids in and put them in an environment where they got to respond, because we just don't know who that might be.
Thanks, Coach.
Next, we'll go to Mark Weiser of the Athens Banner-Herald. Mark, go ahead.
Kirby, I know Drew Bobo is listed as out for Saturday. Do you expect he will miss the rest of the season, and what exactly is he dealing with injury-wise?
Mark, I'd be speculating because I still don't know, determined what we're going to do with the injury he has, and until we determine that, I would rather not comment on it.
And how do you feel about your center position heading into this game? What have you seen this week as those guys prepare to fill in?
Yeah, we got a lot of guys that have worked at that position throughout the year. Drew has been dealing with an injury the past 3 to 4 weeks prior to this week, and so we had the good fortune of getting a lot of reps for Cortez and Malachi and Donnie Glover, and all those guys have been getting reps at center for probably 3 to 4 weeks. They all got reps during camp. Malachi and Cortez have gotten some invaluable reps down with us in terms of scout reps, which I love. They get to go against really big physical people and practice against us, and they've kind of rotated down and back each week and gotten better. So I'm excited to see them have an opportunity to play.
If you have a question, please use the raise hand function in Zoom. Our next question will come from Anthony Dasher of UGA Sports. Anthony.
Hey, Coach, I'll stick on the center question. Have you decided on the starter yet for the game Saturday?
Again, that's not something that we're prepared to disclose right now. I think those guys are working, and they're getting better. And good thing is we got 3 of them that are very capable.
How effective has Chauncey Bowens looked in practice this week?
Chauncey's been like he has the last couple of weeks, so he's been doing good.
Next question will come from Jordan Hill of Dogs 247.
Yeah, Kirby, just wanted your thoughts on what Ja'Cory has done down the backstretch of this season, stepping in for Kyron and just the job he's done.
Yeah, Ja'Cory is a veteran guy in our program defense, 4 years. He's been a really good special teams player. He's played a lot of snaps. He's played dime, nickel, safety, free safety, strong safety. He's one of the guys that's played 4 spots for us and done a tremendous job and continues to grow and get better.
Thank you.
And if you have a question, please use the raise hand function. We will call on you, and then we will ask you to unmute your line. We'll go back to Anthony Dasher. Anthony?
Yeah, Coach, just want to ask about Bo Walker. To understand, he might have been in a car accident this week. Can you give any update on him?
Yeah, Bo's not with us. He was required to have a surgery, so he'll be out for this game.
And just one more thing. When you look at Ellis Robinson and DeMello Jones, how have both of those guys progressed since the last game against Alabama?
I think those guys have progressed well since they arrived. Again, they both hit the weight room hard last year, got bigger, stronger, understanding our system, playing well, learning from Dalen. They continue to grow and get better. Dante's done a great job with them. Those guys are good football players. They love football. They're instinctive. They challenge people. They get to cover our wideouts every day in practice, which I think is a huge benefit for them in their growth.
And for those just joining us, if you would like to ask a question, please use the raise hand function. We'll call on you and ask you to unmute your line. So we'll now go back to Jeremy Johnson of On 3. Jeremy.
Hey, Coach. Obviously, Zayden Walker's played a lot more over the second half of the season. You know, what have you kind of seen out of him? And, you know, he seems good. It seems like he can do a lot of things for your defense. What's kind of the, expectation for him over the next half of this season, playing a bigger role?
He's grown up a lot. He's still developing in terms of his growth in our defense. He came from a high school that he was required to play a lot of different positions, and he didn't get always to play inside linebacker. So it's a position that he's growing at. He's got a lot to learn. He's growing. He gets reps on the scout team each day. He works really hard. He's going to be a good football player. He's been a good rusher. He's been a good third down guy for us. He's been a good special teams player for us, and he's gaining more confidence. And I think as he gains more confidence, he'll be able to contribute even more.
Thank you, Coach.
If you have a question, please hit the raise hand, and we will call on you. Coach, while we wait, just comment on what advantage, if at all, it is for players coming to the SEC championship game, having that experience. How is it different coming back a second time or a third time?
In terms of the experience for the players?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think playing in the venue is a big experience key. I think having been in there with even the freshmen last week, but the guys that played last year, I always think experience is a weapon. So is talent, so is preparedness. And all those things will be a factor in the game. But our kids have played in this game quite a bit, and they enjoy it. And it's really a credit, a reward to a season that was extremely tough and a lot of really tough games in the fourth quarter for both teams. So this is what it is. It's a chance to win a championship.
Thank you, Coach. We'll now go to Anthony Dasher, UGA Sports. Anthony.
Yeah, Coach, historically for you, how do you What are the advantages, I guess, and disadvantages of playing a team a second time in the championship game as opposed to, maybe a team you've seen for the first time?
I don't know. There's no real advantages and there's no real disadvantages. Both teams have the same tape. Both teams have a common thread that we played each other. So it's not a huge advantage one way or the other. I don't feel like. I think it's sometimes coaches overdo it or overthink it, and I just think it boils down to who blocks, who tackles, who prepares the best. Who mentally prepares the best, who handles it the best. I think we're both dealing with different injuries, and so there'll be a lot of next man up mentality in this game, and a lot of times that plays a role in it. Maybe it wasn't the same matchup the last time; it's a different matchup this time, and where that highlights or helps or changes for each team, who knows? We'll find out.
Yeah, you mentioned both teams dealing with injuries. With the league going to 9 conference games, are you worried that may become even a bigger factor in future conference games?
It could, certainly could, but it's speculation. I think any coach will tell you that the 9-game season is going to be more wear and tear in terms of our conference for sure. And if rosters are tightening, which they are tightening, teams are going to have fewer guys next year than they had this year due to guys aging out and DSAs removing themselves and the portal stuff, that it's going to become harder and harder to have the depth you need. And maybe whoever does that best is at a competitive advantage as well.
Thanks.
All right, we now have a question from Katie Wyndham from Bama Central. Katie?
Yeah, hey, Coach. Sticking on the injury front, LT Overton was ruled out for Alabama last night. In that first matchup, he had 6 tackles, including that 4th down stop. Just kind of how does it change going against the Alabama defense without him available for them?
Well, first off, I don't know anything about what's going on with him in terms of injury, but I have a lot of respect for him. We recruited him out of high school. He's a Georgia kid. His dad was there at Bama while I was there, and I've known him for a long time and have tremendous respect for him as a player and competitor. So I wish him nothing but the best with everything he's got going on, and his family that way as well. For us, it'll just be next man up. That's what you do is coaches. You try to prepare for who's going to be there. Again, it's not something that we know how they're going to change things because he's not there. They got other good players. They've got depth just like we do.
Thank you, Coach. Again, if you have a question, use the raise hand function. We'll go back to Jeremy Johnson of On 3. Jeremy?
Hey, Coach. I just was wondering how, if there was any update on how Talon Taylor was doing in practice, and if there was any update on how Ethan Barbour is progressing from his injury. I know he has slowly been, taking not on crutches and all that anymore. So just any update on his status?
No, he's just able to do more. He's able to, run. He's off the scooter. He's moving around. He did some indie, really light work in terms of getting back out there with the tight ends. But it's still a slow process for him. It was a significant injury. He's been in great spirits. I'm really proud of the way that kid has handled things. He's been attentive. He's such a good energy guy and a great team guy. The way he's around the team and around walkthroughs and into things and wants.
All right, so a little technical issue there. If we get that thing fixed, when we get that thing fixed, we will absolutely get you right back out there again. Don't forget Kalen DeBoer coming up right around the top of the hour. Greg Sankey will also address everybody from Atlanta there. Right now, the 2 coaches and their teams are still at their respective schools. Greg Sankey, of course, is in Atlanta, as the masses will certainly converge upon that city coming up here over the next couple of days. That includes all of us, many of us anyways, from the SEC network as well. As we continue to kind of work out whatever that issue was there with Kirby Smart, we will get you back out to Athens here in moments. Again, interesting news there. You heard him asked about it. LT Overton, one of a few Alabama keys that may not be available for the Crimson Tide on Saturday. All right, you take a look at this, though. This will be Kirby's 8th championship game appearance. Only Nick Saban has been to the SEC championship game more than Kirby. All right, we believe the kinks are worked out, and here comes Kirby Smart.
It makes for a very, very tough job and a tough selection, and it seems like we keep going through this each year, and we maybe have another year of it this year.
Thank you, Coach. If you have a question, use the raise hand function. We do have another one from the chat. Coach, you've participated in this game multiple times. What does playing in this game mean to you, and what has it meant to you in your career?
Well, I think it's been a great honor to play in it first. I mean, to win SEC championships are one of the hardest things to do. I mean, you look how elusive they've been, how few of programs have been able to win them across the SEC. That's a credit to getting to the game. It's even a bigger credit to win the game, and it's usually an indicator of a quality of team you have if you advance to the playoffs. And get to play, or whether that, back in the 14 model or this model, in terms of the talent level of our conference, the number of teams that have gotten in.
Thank you, Coach. We'll now go to Colin Gay of the Tuscaloosa News. Colin.
Hey, Kirby. There was obviously comments made by Vanderbilt coach Clark Lee about them potentially wanting to play another game to showcase their worth to the College Football Playoff Committee. I'm wondering, is that something that, you could see down the line of other teams wanting to play an extra game just to showcase their skills before a final ranking? Or do you see that, potentially happening more?
Not sure. Probably depends on what seat you sit in, right? So everybody on the outside looking in wants another game. And people would argue you had plenty of games. Everybody on the inside looking out say, I'm good. I'll stay right where I'm at. I'm okay. I played well enough. So, I think it's been talked about. I think it's, one of those things that was tossed around early on last year about the possibility of playing within your conference or cross-conference to have some play-in games, which is nothing more than an extension of the playoffs, and you would play in from that perspective. But we'll still debate about who's in those play-in games and who would have the right to play in those games to advance and move on. But there was speculation about that early on, and I think there's coaches that think that's a better model because it gives their fan base something to hope for and wish for outside of the 12. Everybody's trying to get a piece of the 12, and it's very elusive. It's very hard. So if it gives more people an opportunity, that's good for some. And there'll be those that probably would have made it in another year that might lose that wish they didn't have that opportunity.
Perfect. Thanks.
Coach, we'll now go to Joe Gaither. Joe, go ahead.
Coach, how would you assess the mental aspect of this game with both programs, considering the history that's happened between both programs in this game?
I don't think these kids pay much attention to any kind of history because, their roster is almost as new as ours. I think both of us are averaging 34% new guys. We did play them last year in a classic game. We played them this year in a classic game, and then, multiple years in this game. But I think it's pretty clear that each and every game has a history and life of its own, and you play the game that season with the guys you have and the mindset of the guys you have. So I don't think these other games will have any effect on this one.
Okay, we'll have time for a couple more questions. We'll start with Anthony Dasher. Anthony.
All right, Coach, ask you about Nate Frazier. Of course, he had the fumble the first time in the Alabama game, but since then he's kind of like he's become a kind of different kind of player, just the way he's kind of carried himself and going about things. What have you seen from him since that contest?
Well, I've seen it before that contest. I don't think you measure someone by one play or one mishap. I certainly don't measure him by that. He runs with great toughness, competitive fibers. He just competes. I love the way the guy practices every day and how much it means to him. And he's had good games and good plays since then, and he's had some that he wishes he had back. So does every good player. But I don't measure it from that moment to this moment. I look at it as a total season and what a tremendous job Nate's done.
Thanks. Hey, we will take one final question from Max Cohen from WAAY TV. Max.
Which, with what's on the line this week, how much does this feel like a playoff game?
Well, every game's a playoff game because for us, every game to this point would have probably taken, us out of the SEC championship game or out of the playoffs. So, your back's against the wall every week in this conference. It's not new to either team. So it's the next one. And you can't make it bigger than it is. It's a big moment. It's a chance for an SEC championship. And around our place, they put numbers up, in the banners in the hallways for when you win SEC championships. And that's significant to me. These kids, these players, they want an opportunity to win this conference. They mostly grew up around this conference, and they know how hard it is to achieve an SEC championship. So we want to be at our best, and we got a elite opponent to go against to do it.
Coach Smart, thank you for your time this afternoon. Best of luck. We'll see you on Saturday.
Thank you.
All righty. Kirby Smart looking for his third national title. He turns 50 just before Christmas. Maybe this is the year he gets number 3. Kalen DeBoer in Alabama. They're looking for their first one together.
SEC Now is brought to you by T-Mobile. When Ludacris moves, fans move. Catch him live during the T-Mobile SEC Championship Concert, December 6th at noon Eastern.